Hello, 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 and welcome. My name is Asherah, and welcome to my very unique PhD channel where I am conducting a PhD level research proposal into a mental health condition known as DID, dissociative identity disorder / psychosis, with conscious expansion. I'm literally, in fact, let me timestamp it. It's Saturday the 31st of January today, and it is 1:26 in the evening. And I want to start by talking about two things. One is the video that is in the background. But firstly, what I want to talk about is that I had an email this morning from my shamanic practitioner. I'll cover up the email details so you can just see that bit. Can you see? And I'm going to read it. It's basically today's date, which is the 31st of January, and it came through at 5:59 a.m. And it says, "Good morning. I hope you landed okay. Again, I landed a week ago yesterday. And integration has been smooth and loving for you, ? I just want to touch base and say thank you for being you and being a part of my life. It's been a beautiful journey and I'm thankful for all of it. But clearly our medicines do not blend. They are more like oil and water, which is all perfect. So this is just to confirm that we will not be traveling down the teacher-student path together, which brings this journey to a close. I have enjoyed our time together and wish you well on the next part of your journey. Warmest regards." So I've been waiting literally over a week for her to reach out and get in contact with me from being in Peru. And this morning at 5:59 she did. And it was basically this. So obviously the first thought, because I've been expecting it, so it's not a surprise, because eventually she was going to have to reach out, just because she is in the position of being the teacher and I am in the position of the student in this particular element of our relationship. So there was no surprise that came with it. What was a really nice surprise is me allowing it to try, not to try to trigger me, but me allowing that triggering process to take place calmly. And by doing that, I was able to identify whether or not there was triggers inside of me. Was I triggered from the email? And I would have to say that as potential triggers came up, so for example, she doesn't want to work with me anymore, that could trigger the emotion of abandonment, exclusion, being left out, being isolated, feeling unsupported. Like, there's 150 different emotions that can arise from it. And as those emotions were kind of coming to me and coming through me and from me, I was able to just be still in them. You know, I didn't get hot, I didn't get sweaty, I didn't get emotional, I didn't get angry, I didn't get upset, basically I wasn't reactive, which was really nice. It really made me jump up and down, because again, it just shows how far my healing has come. Like, when I say that I'm over it, when I say that I've healed from it, it's not just bullshit and it's not just gas. Like, there's actual physical hardcore evidence demonstrating that this shit it doesn't have me twisted like that. Like, the healing's been done. Like, abandonment is not an issue. You know what I mean? Even though it's something I've dealt with my whole entire life, it's no longer an issue for me. Like, the fact of Stacey not wanting to continue our journey doesn't make me feel abandoned. I'm no longer searching for the issue within me. So I now know that the issues are not me. The issues are external to me. Don't get me wrong. Everything that we come across is us. Okay, so first of all, we got to take accountability that we have coded this reality in order to learn the lesson that we need to learn. So with that respect, yes, it's all me. But the fact that it's to call it in to learn a lesson, I can learn that lesson and not be not turn that lesson into an issue that I have. No, I can look at that lesson and see how far I've grown in that lesson. You know what I mean? This has got nothing to do with me at all. This is very much got to do with her, you know, and I can stand in that with integrity and 100% truth. You know, and just be joyous that I'm able to look at something or see a situation objectively, and take accountability where accountability is mine, but also see the fault in others, but also see the forgiveness in the behavior of others too, you know, and also no judgment in the behaviors of others too, because I get it. And the fact that I got it time ago, like I literally did a video on the 10th of July 2025 explaining that this was going to be, and really what I was trying to say on that video, in fact I might even pull up the blood clot video. What I was trying to say on that video is that when Stacey comes to the realization that I am not the student, I am in fact the teacher, how is she going to take it? And that was my question in July 2024. And today, in January 2026, it's been answered. How is she going to take it? Do you know what I mean? She's going to take it by doing what she does best, and that is abandoning the situation so she doesn't have to face it full on. You know what I mean? So it's interesting. It's very, very, very interesting, and it's very, very humbling at the same time. You know what I mean? This is not a situation where there's any kind of gloating or there's any kind of big up on my part. Yeah, there's a big up, don't get me wrong. There's a big up in growth, and there's a big up in spiritual acknowledgement. And I just spoke to my son on the phone, and he said something quite significant to me that made me laugh. And I'll tell you what he said in a minute, but first of all I want to tell you how I felt. And it actually released me. I don't know why, but it did. It made me feel like, because I want to stop pretending. Do you know what I mean? Like, I want to stop having to pretend. I want to stop but deliberately choosing to small up myself so that others that feel like giants can feel like a giant. Which is so wrong at the end of the day, because if you're a giant, you're a giant. You're not a giant because others around you cower and small up themselves. You're a giant because you just are. A king is a king because a king is a king. You know what I mean? Not because he says he's a king. He's a king. You know, the minute you start to announce yourself, you're not really what you are. So I don't announce who I am or what I am. I just am. You know what I mean? And because I am, I can also choose when to be, you know. And I'm thinking in hindsight right now in the moment whether or not that is my mistake. And I think partly it is my mistake, but it's also part of the strategy. You know, play fool to catch wise a little bit. Don't show your whole hand. You know, isn't these parts of the, you know, these would be deemed to be philosophies of the art of war, you know, and I'm very, very, I wouldn't say I'm very, very familiar with the book The Art of War, but internally, mentally, spiritually, physically, in the 3D that is, I'm very good at going to war. I'm very good at battles, whether it be a short battle or a long battle. It doesn't matter. I like the challenge. I do well in those environments, so I can weather out a storm. You know, if it comes to staking out a building and you got to be outside 6 days in the pouring rain, like I'll be outside 6 days in the pouring rain and not moan about it because I'm on mission. I'm a good soldier in that respect. You know, it doesn't really matter what the situation is. If there's a mission that needs to be completed, you know what I mean? I'm there and I'm committed to it. So in July of 2025, the 10th of July to be exact, and I'm saying all these things that Spirit is telling me, that mine and Stacey's relationship is not teacher-student. It's the student's the teacher and the teacher's the student. You know, and all these things about the new world and all these things about me being the mother and all these other things, you know what I mean, that I knew was the case, I feel like has come to fruition somewhat during this ayahuasca experience. And instead of confronting these differences that she witnessed, because she made the reference of our magic being oil and water. And I would have to ask her how does she see as being oil and water when good is bad and bad is good? Like there is no oil and water. There is no bad and good. Does that make sense? It's everything. It's oil and water together, which is so funny, because I'm actually designing something at the moment with oil and water mixed. You know what I mean? God, water's terrible. Water is terrible because it will go bad basically. So it doesn't operate the same as oil, whereas oil can be preserved longer. Water, it doesn't act in that way. So when you mix the two of them together, it's quite tricky. But in the sense of spirituality, there is no oil and water. To judge something as being different means that you've lost the plot completely. Like, not the plot, but you've lost the essence of it completely, because it's not. It's looking into white and knowing that black exists. You wouldn't be able to see the white if it didn't, almost, you know what I mean? And looking into black and knowing that white exists in it. So if you take white and pixelate it, you'll see lots of different colors in there. You know what I mean? It's not just white. And the same for black. It's not just black. So when we see things as ultimately one or the other, we miss all the other colors and the dynamics within that, the grey area, so to speak. And Stacey, what she's done is she's closed the door on an opportunity to see something grey, but because that doesn't align with who she is or what she thinks she is. And again, it's all about who she believes herself to be. From the conversations that I've had with her, she believes herself to be the mother. She believes herself to be mama. You know what I mean? And she believes herself to carry chaos energy. And it's kind of like, well, when she's talking to me about her experiences of it, and I know my experiences of it, and my experiences are like 10 far more, dynamic or connected or in tune with what it feels like there is. And I'm sitting down there listening to her stories about her explanation of when she became chaos magic. And I'm like, bloody hell, if you ever knew chaos magic, you wouldn't even describe it in that way. The words and the examples that you've given to describe the experience doesn't really justify the energy of chaos that I know myself has had the opportunity or the experience to carry or work with. Chaos magic is, when I first started to move with chaos magic, I described it to my son like it was like having Tasmanian. Imagine 100 Tasmanians running through you like electric, and you're trying to contain all of that energy. My armpits are literally uncontrollably sweating for months. My armpit ring would be like round my breast area, under my armpit and round, all around my belly, down my legs, sweat. My back, sweat. Like the energy, the energy, trying to contain this energy on a day-to-day basis was fucking ridiculous. You know what I'm saying? Ridiculous. And as days, weeks, months, whatever, I learned to harness it, to try and control it, to get it to a center point within me. And once I was able to get the chaos magic to a center point within me and quiet it down, condense all of this. You know what it was? Coming like a fucking Avatar movie. But once I was able to kind of condense it and control it. One moment, my daughter. You alright, Nav? Did you land safe? Oh, goody. Did she meet you? Okay, so you know where you're going? No, don't be scared. Don't be scared. It's a little bit busy in London, but it is signed. Okay. Yeah. So do you know what bus you gotta catch, or underground? Okay then. And do you know where the bus stop is? Have you come off at Euston? Okay then. So all the bus stops is outside. Yeah. What bus are you catching? 11 minutes away to the bus stop from Euston. Bloody hell. 63? No, the 63 isn't far from Euston Summer. It's not 11 minutes away. Because 63 goes to Camden, innit? Is there a McDonald's outside the bus stop? Alright, text me and let me know when you get there then. Alright. Okay. There is a McDonald's there. Yeah, is that where because if the 63 is in front of the McDonald's, that's 11 minutes walk. Okay. I know that route somehow. I know what I'm talking about. But go on anyway. Just text me when you land safe, alright? Alright, love you loads. Bye. I don't remember it being 11 minutes away from Euston, but could be wrong. But I used to catch that 63. You know what I mean? Anyway, not to Camden though. I think it's Peckham to be fair, but whatever. Anyway, I was talking to my son prior. That's what I was going to tell you earlier. Should I jump to that bit, Spirit, or carry on with the other bit? No, carry on with the other bit. So basically, it's just that, isn't it? It's that it's neither light or dark. It's neither wrong or right. It's neither oil or water. She's missed out on this opportunity to kind of see the bigger picture. You know what I mean? And part of this shamanic journey was to show her that it's more than just that. And I was basically touching on the reference of chaos magic and how it felt. And so let me close down on that. So basically, once I was able to kind of get this energy fucking ball of fucking just pure chaos into into this centerpiece within my solar plexus, and that was over months, you know. That weren't like no quick thing. That took time to master that, to really truly be able to hold all of that energy in a center point and just balance on it. And it came with breathing exercises. The ancestors would have me going through breathing exercises where I would have to hold my breath, and to the point where it felt like I couldn't hold my breath anymore. And that when I got to that point now, that's when the holding my breath actually started. So imagine you get to the point, you hold it off because you want spirit to know that you got this and you're a bad girl, so you're holding your breath. Now when you can't hold your breath and you're like, all right, spirit, all right. Now they're telling you the challenge starts. Now you hold your breath from that bit. And you learn to alchemize, and they showed me how to kind of place air bubbles that was already in my body, because my body was holding on to oxygen in my blood, around my cells, in my lungs, and how I could push these different individual oxygen bubbles into spaces around my leg and my feet in order to come back to them and absorb them later on. So they was teaching me not almost, but they were also teaching me within that. It was like wax on, wax off. You're being taught to clean windows, but actually you're being taught something else. So I'm being taught how to move energy, air pockets around my body into different places, down my legs and arms, etc., in my torso, so that I could rely on them later as breathing tool, as suck up the oxygen in order to help me keep my breath for longer. But really what I was being trained for is to breathe underwater longer, and how to utilize the oxygen in my body in order to stay on the ground longer. So it was different things have come to my knowledge and understanding at different times throughout this journey, but whatever. Once I learned how to harness chaos magic and hold chaos magic in, that's when chaos magic became a new level of chaos magic. This is chaos magic but under control. This is chaos magic that moves slowly. Yeah? So chaos magic swings around. Imagine that the double helix. Not the double helix, sorry. Imagine the figure of 8. Yeah? The infinite symbol. Whatever. But you're locking it this way, then you're locking it from the top, then you're locking it from the side, then you're locking it from this way, locking it from left, right, horizontal, vertical. So you almost get like a star pattern in it. That's chaos magic, and it creates these red strings of energy, like Doctor Strange. He looks like Doctor Strange. When you see Doctor Strange open up a portal, that's what it fucking looks like. It looks like that. Do you know what I mean? And one time when I was doing my shamanic drum ceremony back in December outside. I had a burnt piece of a green bush what Stacey had given me, and I was rubbing it along my shamanic drum, and you could see the red light, the orange light, what Doctor Strange makes. And I kept saying, this looks like chaos magic to me. This is what chaos magic presents itself to me as. But imagine, I saw that chaos magic, that Doctor Strange energy, that orange red light energy change into white, into pure white light energy, and slow itself down into the violet flame. And you've just got white, grey and violet spinning, and it's in slow motion. Imagine this is how slow chaos magic can go. Chaos magic don't even need to move. Like the slower you go with it, the more impact chaos magic has. And that's the magic about chaos magic. People think chaos has to be nah. Real chaos is slow. Real chaos is quiet, blood. Real chaos, you don't even fucking know that shit's coming. You know what I'm saying? So we've all got different variations of experiences with different magics and stuff like that. But isn't it beautiful to kind of share each other's understanding, each other's ideology, philosophies in those areas? You know, why do we have to close the door because you like pink and I like orange? Do you know what I mean? It's crazy. It's crazy and it's ignorant. It's crazy and it's ignorant. But it's more than just ignorant. Ignorant is probably one of the negative ways to look at it. It's crazy and it's a shame. It's a shame at the same time. It's a real shame. Because at this stage in the game, there should be a level of maturity. And when one acts like that, it demonstrates a lack of maturity, a lack of spiritual maturity, and a lack of spiritual integrity, to be fair. You know what I mean? Because gone are the days where we're shunning and burning witches at the fucking stake. You know what I mean? Especially if you're posing to be a witch. You can't be posing to be a witch, a shaman, a spiritual healer, and then you come into contact with one that is a shaman, a witch, a spiritual healer, and you have an issue with that. You know what I mean? But don't get me wrong, it's your prerogative if you want to have an issue. I can't tell you to not have an issue. I'm just saying that it looks it looks somewhat like an opportunity missed. You know what I mean? But it's not my opportunity that has been missed. Because, you know, one of the things that I says to her while we were there is that should you be even teaching a shamanic course? If you're expecting people to build their own shamanic course once they become a shamanic registered practitioner with you, to have their own magic, shouldn't your responsibility to be to check if they have magic in the first place? Because if a mogul joins her course and has no magic, then how is that mogul a practitioner shaman? How have you trained someone to be a shaman and the person doesn't even have magic? The person doesn't know how to tap into their magic. The person isn't a healer. The person doesn't have any shamanic gifts. So how do you have the right? How do you have the legal right, the integrity right, the qualification right, the shamanism right, the spiritual right? Like what has bestowed the right on you to actually qualify anybody for a level 2 practitioner shamanic qualification when your course does nothing? It teaches nothing about shamanism. It teaches nothing about shamanism. Because to be a shaman, the fundamental thing, and I've said it before, is to channel spirit. The course, I can bring you her course materials here because I have them. There is nothing on there with regards to channeling spirit. It's all about doing personal healing and personal growth, going through the programs, going through the journeys. Journeying, don't get me wrong, there's an element of journeying that is shamanism. But again, if you're not coming from a place of shamanism, then you're just meditating. You're not actually journaling, you're actually meditating. And then for what we've witnessed of Stacey while being in Peru, in the Amazon jungle on ayahuasca, is that she's filled with entities. She's filled with spiritual parasites. She's still working through her healing. And I was able to communicate that to her. I was able to communicate her traumas to her without her having disclosed her traumas with me. I was able to tell her the things that she was bringing to the table. I could tell her this is what it was. And every time it was what it was, and I said what it was. She didn't deny that that's what it was. She agreed with that's what it was. Even when another student, Ava, was like, no, Asherah, you're jumping ahead of yourself. It's not that. Maybe it was this. And Stacey was like, no, Asherah was right. It definitely was that. And I was able to give her things that are even in the future still to come yet. You know what I mean? So, not that I need to prove myself and who I am. You know what I mean? Because there's no need for talking. My energy does the talking for me. You know, what it is that when you come to realize who I am, try not to put your insecurities and your fears or your expectations in front of what is actually in front of you. You know what I mean? And I think that's the difference between Stacey and Jim. Jim, he was more reflective. There was an element of maturity displayed in him. So, for example, he made the comment once on day one ayahuasca ceremony, and he came over. In fact, it was the end of day 2 ceremony, and he came over to me and Marco in between our beds where we were, and he said, you know what? Sometimes, you know, it feels really difficult to be in my position as a healer, because, you know, I'm here supposed to tell people what they need to do on their healing journey, but who the fuck am I? Who am I to be telling somebody what they need to do or not do on their healing journey when their healing journey is theirs? You know, who said I know what the fuck I'm talking about? You know, and that's why I have to take every day with a pinch of salt and just make sure that I keep myself in check, that I'm not Billy Big Balls and I don't know everything. But sometimes being in the position of a healer, it puts you in that frame of mind. You know what I mean? So he said, I'm forever having to be conscious that I'm not doing that, and I allow people the space that they need to come to the understanding or ideology about themselves and their own healing. And I says to Jim, you know what, Jim, I respect that still. You know what I mean? Because it's not everybody who stands in a position of self-awareness and self-acknowledgement. Yeah, you are considered to be a healer, and you are someone who is in a position to provide healing support to others. But that doesn't mean you know the be-all and end-all about somebody and their journey. And that doesn't mean that even though you're in this position, doesn't mean that you're not also in the position of a student. And why wouldn't you want to be? And I think that's also a difference. I'm a qualified head teacher and a qualified executive head, meaning that I've managed multiple schools at the same time. Yeah. I've been in positions of leadership and power most of my adult life. From at least in my 21 years of age, I was running my own organization and holding chair meetings with several organizations where big man was the board, the chair, the boss of those organizations. But still, when they step in a meeting with me, I'm that bitch in my 20s. So the leadership game, it's not a new game to me. Like I understand it and I play it well. From a little girl, I've always had one of those personalities that took charge and was in authority and knew what direction to go. You know, I've always had that spiritual grounding. So being in positions of power, they're not new to me. So power doesn't go to my head the way that it goes to other people's head. I would be the head teacher of a school and give up my office, which I have done on many occasions, so that there can be an extra class for the kids to have somewhere where sensory needs are met, or they just need a timeout or whatever. I don't need an office. I don't need an office to let people know that I'm the biggest and the baddest in the school. I will have my yellow merry-go gloves on and be cleaning kitchens. I'll go in the bathroom if something needs sorting out and the handyman's not around or the caretaker's not around, and sort it out. I'll go in the kitchen and talk to the catering staff and actually find out grassroots what's the issues. You know what I mean? How can I help? What's going on? I'm in there like swimwear in all different areas of school life. You know what I mean? Like, I'm not the highty-tighty head teacher that sits in the top of her castle all day long and don't communicate with parents and stuff. No, that's not me. I get involved on all levels. So therefore, I don't cling on to leadership in the same way as others. I don't cling on to power in the same way as others, because I don't care for it. I don't care for power. I don't care for big recognition. I don't care for none of it, blood. I just step out and do me. And if you see it, you see it. And if you don't, you don't. It's all good. Not a problem. So even when I'm I'm in Peru, and again I've videoed enough of the videos, and I've talked enough of the things that was happening at the time that they were happening. And even at the same time, I'm not, when my man's on about, oh, you're a big powerful priestess, you are. Jim the healer guy who owns the place is telling me that I'm a big powerful high priestess. Do I realize how much power I possess? You know what I mean? And the truth of it is, no, I don't realize how much power I possess, because to be honest, I don't spend too much time thinking about it. And that's the ignorant truth of me, because I'm generally not fucking interested. I'm not interested. If I was interested, I'd make a note of it. If I was interested, I'd pay attention to it. If I was interested, I'd probably allow it to let it go to my fucking head. But I'm not interested, and it's because I'm not interested why the power is bestowed on me, because they know that she don't want it, so she ain't gonna abuse it. Miss Wati Wati, no getty, and Miss Getty, she don't want it. She don't want it. It don't interest me. Power does not interest me. Power. Why does power not interest me? Why does power not interest me? What is power? For me, power is control. Well, power can be used as a form of control, and I think that's what the problem is. There's been many a times in my life where I've held on to things, and because of fear, insecurities, for example, my children, I spent a lot of time trying to control my children's outcomes. I don't want anything bad to happen to them, so I'm gonna try and control everything, so that every step that they take, I can see it. I know where they're gonna go. Is that bad? Don't go down there. That's bad. Don't go. You know what I mean? Like, I know I'm not trying to control them in a negative way, like I want to stifle them, but I also know that by trying to control them is stifling them. So I understand the contradiction in the argument, but I'm just saying that it's been out of trying to keep them safe, which doesn't make it better. That's not what I'm saying at all. I take accountability for the level of control I have tried to behold over my children. And I'm really glad that in 2026, I can now say that I've relinquished the control over my children. And I'm more than happy to just allow their lives to take whatever form, because I know wholeheartedly that the Almighty has got them. So before, I was acting out of a lack of faith, a lack of true understanding that my children do not come from me, they come through me. They're not my responsibility anyway. So I don't need to worry about whether or not the outcome is good or whether or not the outcome is bad, because they're not mine. Their outcome has already been agreed upon with the Almighty before they came to this planet. So I don't need to get in the way. It don't need to be any of my business. So now that I know that, I stay in my own lane. And now that I'm in my own lane, so I'm not trying to control any person, and I'm not trying to control my children, and now I know that I don't need to have control over myself. Like, I've completely surrendered to spirit, I've completely surrendered to the Almighty, I've completely surrendered to faith. Then I'm not trying to control myself either, because to me the control is the limit, and I don't want to limit it, because what I think is the right path, the Almighty has a path 10 times better. 10 times better than what I could have done, 10 times better than what I could have thought, 10 times better than what I could have controlled. So now, because I know that I know nothing, I just allow the Almighty to do what the Almighty wants to do. So therefore, I relinquish control. No, don't bring control to me. Don't bring power to me. No. Whatever the Almighty wants to do, that's what we're doing. That's what we're doing. So I think that's what it is for me. Like, I don't want power. I don't want control. Forget it. I'm doing it the Almighty's way. Whatever God says to do, that's what I'm doing. So why do I need power? I don't need power. I don't need control. I don't need power, and I don't need control. Real talk, I don't. And I don't want it either. I don't want anything to do with it. If somebody comes into my life, I don't even want to know the future. Too tough. And don't get me wrong, I do see the future. Whereas before, would you say that before you needed to know? No, I wouldn't say I needed to know, because I think I've always been, from when I was a little girl. And say I'd be sitting on the bus going to school, so I'm about 11, 12. And I'll be on the bus and people's talking, or they're on the phone talking to someone, or they're in a conversation with someone on the bus. And Spirit would always say to me, mind your business. Mind your business. You don't need to be listening to nobody else's conversation. Think about what it is that you're doing and what you need to do, and keep your eye on your business. Keep your ear on your business. Keep your mouth on your business. So from a little girl, Spirit used to tell me off. You know, if I caught myself listening in on something, Spirit would tell me off. Tell me to mind my own blood clot business. So I learned from a very young age to mind my own business. And that is the best thing you can do, is to mind your own business. So anyway, with the Stacey thing now, in terms of how to respond, so after I've gone through all these emotions in my body and checkpoints to understand if I'm being triggered, and if so, where am I being triggered, and if I am being triggered, what needs to be healed, because I'm all about the healing of it. And I realize that as I'm going through the motion, I'm not being triggered. I'm just coming to more higher states of understanding and acknowledgement, to the point where I'm now dancing in my bedroom. I've got music playing, I'm dancing, and I'm just feeling energies of joy, 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 ripple and ripple and ripple inside of me, to the point where I'm having to say, yo, slow down on the joy. Because if you go too high with the joy, then you'll make the low come down. Your next low will be quite low. You need to stay in the balance of joy, and you need to stay in the balance of sorrow. And this is how you need to just be on the beat with both of them. Don't be joying up here, you know, and sorrow's down here. Nah, stay here. Or you better bring sorrow up here. You know what I mean? You better bring sorrow up here. But don't be letting joy try and get ahead of itself. No. That's not what you want to do. You want to keep them both balanced. So I'm able to look at my situation with Stacey and still experience joy. And I'm able to look at my situation with how far I've come and still experience sorrow. And I've got to keep that balance, you know what I mean? So that everything just hits me in a balanced way. Like, I don't want to be hit by sorrow, and I don't want to be hit by joy. I'm good being neutral. And I think for me anyway, what I've learned is that neutral is where the magic happens. You know what I mean? You're neither one or the other. You're just both at the same time, and you're just content with whatever it is, because guess what? It is what it is. It is what it is. So when I'm listening to my daughter at the bus stop, I'm just seeing some visions of her, like she's standing out there. When it is what it is, I want to say when it is what it is, it just isn't it? There ain't really nothing else to do. And that is true. There isn't nothing else to do, you know. But what I will say is that when I was just speaking to my son, and he was like, Mom, if people are going on like that with you, it's usually an indication. It's usually an indication that they're not really what they thought they were. You know what I'm saying? Because if you were, for example, if they were really religious people and somebody came in and was demonstrating something on a religious level, that you would want to know. You would want to know what that person was all about. And if somebody come in on a spiritual level, you would, and you were spiritual, you would want to know what that's about spiritually. The only reason why you wouldn't want to know is if it impacted on your inferiority, he said. And I said, that's interesting, son. You know what I mean? Because it's my second son. He's just gone 24, and all my kids are very intellectually capable of holding an argument and a conversation. You know, they're my children, and I speak to them on deep levels, so they have to be. You know, Nav, who just called, she likes to play it like she's not deep, and sometimes she's not. Sometimes I'm like, fucking hell, you really are a Barbie, aren't you? Like, your head's full of air. But then there's other times when she just completely shocks me and throws me out of the water, and I'm just like, fucking hell, you really are my child. So again, it swings and roundabouts, and it swings and roundabouts. But this one here, my second one, he's more scientific than he is spiritual. He's got a very, 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 very scientific or logical brain, to the point where I have to tell him half the time, Cav, you won the bottle, man. Take the blood clot bottle, because on the logical one, you've got it down 10, 10, 10, but I'm asking you to step into the 5D, which is a shift in perspective. And it's great that you can see it from a 3D perspective, but you need to be able to bounce between the two perspectives. So he hold this, you know, and since 2020, end of 22 going into 23, something just changed with him and me. And I went into a whole ceremony with him there. You know what I mean? And it was crazy. It was really, really crazy. It's like, oh, this is what, yeah, this is beginning of 2023, and it was mad. It was mad. It was crazy. 2022, 2023. It's crazy though. It's just absolute madness, man. I won't even go into it, but yeah. A lot of it was crazy, and I did record a lot of it, but I haven't publicly put up a lot of it, but it's still on my phone, still on the drive. I still got lots of pictures and stuff like that of what I was doing at the time, and it's all significant. This journey has not been an easy one, and I think sometimes people just take it for granted, like I just dropped out to the fucking sky and landed here, so, or I come with all these gifts and abilities and powers and fucking whatever, as if it just comes like that, and it doesn't. Life is a challenge. When it rains on my house too. When shit goes down, it goes down for me too. You know, you just learn to deal with it a little bit differently, and if you deal with shit like it's joy and deal with joy like it's shit, you get through it quicker, is what I'm saying. That's what I'm saying. So then when I started to explain the second ceremony and how the snake came up, and it was like, oh, fucking hell, man, forget it now, forget it. Do you know what I mean? You just said, forget it now, mum. It's obviously you've gone there, and whatever they've seen or they've understood or whatever, they don't want to play nice with you anymore. Do you know what I mean? They don't want to play nice with you anymore. And it made me laugh, because he said it in such a comical way, and he said it in such a matter-of-fact way. And he's like, nah, mum, if you're bringing snakes up to the ceremony of the ayahuasca, and it's never happened before, and you got there dressed as a snake, they're obviously gonna freak out. Do you know what I mean? And I think for me, I've been expecting more from them. I've been expecting a level of maturity. I've been expecting a level of honesty, of integrity, and a level of, you know what, if you're seeing things about me, then talk the truth and say what it is. Don't just come up to me and say, oh, do you know how powerful you are? Oh, you're a high priestess. Oh, you're evil. Oh, you're dangerous. Oh my God, spirit is communicating and moving you and you have no control over it. I mean, none of that is really helpful. You know what I mean? None of that is really helpful to anybody, to be fair. You know, what would be helpful is if you expressed it a little bit more. What are you feeling? What are you feeling? You're feeling that I'm a high priestess. Okay, that's fine. And what are you feeling about that? Because really, the reason why I think they can't come to me and talk to me is what I know and my ancestors telling me, is because they tried things. They tried things against me. That's the truth of it. They tried to work against me. They tried to dominate. They tried to take what was mine. And my ancestors have dealt with them accordingly. And that's why I sit here puzzled, because I have no knowledge of it. I didn't know you were going to, well, I did know you were going to do it, because obviously they made me know you was going to do it, but I don't know what it exactly is that you was trying to do. I just know that you was trying to do something, and because you try to do something, you're going to get slapped down for it. You get what I'm trying to say? Because my ancestors and the divine don't play about me. So on your head be it. So they can't come to me and say, oh, we think you're evil because we were trying to do something evil against you, but you're even more evil than us. You know what I mean? Because really, that's what they want to say. That's really what they should say. But my answer to that would be, no, I don't know. I still don't know what the fuck you're talking about, because I've got some dark ancestors. I watched my dad's mother crawl out of blood clot hell, fighting samurai sword in blood clot hand, leading 300 man strong on my fucking altar. So I know that I've seen certain things that where my people come from. And I'm not ashamed to say, yo, I walk with some raw motherfucking demons, blood. I raw do. And I've got no problem with that. 2023, I got through my initiation of being Persephone, being dragged down by Hades to the underground and having to live down in the underground in hell for how long? Yeah, I learned how to be a bad bitch down there. Them niggas don't fuck with me. And them niggas do fuck with me. But even as a girl growing up, I grew up with gang members. I grew up with family that were in guns, in gangs. I was a head teacher. My first headship role was of a school whose kids were known to the youth offending team for guns and gangs. You get what I'm saying? Drugs, crime. I grew up around that shit. That shit's not scary to me. It's not scary to me. That was normal. So I don't look at bad man, I don't look at gun man, I don't look at drug man, I don't look at any man or any woman in any way other than what it is. Because some of them love and light ones are even fucking worse than these fucking drug ones and bad man and gangsters, believe me. You know what I'm saying? I'd rather walk with a gun man and a bad man than with some of these fucking so-called spiritual men. Real talk. Gonna tell you which one's really the bad man. And it's not the bad man. But that's my take on it. That's my experience in it. So I can only talk from my experience. But what I will say is that I don't judge them. No, I see love and light, and I see dark and crosses in both of them. You know, and as far as I'm concerned, it is what it is, isn't it? If you show me love, you're gonna get love, and if you show me something different, you're gonna get what you show me, because I'm always gonna be that mirror. I'm never going to wish no bad on you. I'm never going to send no juju your way. But what I am is a mirror. And what you throw at me will come back to you. Not just because I said so, not just because I'm a mirror, but that is the law of the universe. That's the law of karma. That's the law of balance. That's the law of pluralities. You know what I'm saying? That it is what it is. It's both. It's both, and it's neither one or the other. So it's both black and white, good and bad, up and down. But it's neither one or the other. We're neither up or down. We're neither black or white. We're neither good or bad. It's a spectrum. It's a spectrum that you're allowed to go up and down on. You're allowed to go up and down on. Some people think, oh, I'm bad, blah, 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 blah. So I'm going to hide and do things or pretend not to be bad when really I am bad. Who are you pretending for? The Almighty sees it all. Every stone that you threw and you hit your hand. Every bad-minded thing that you said, every bad-minded thought that you had, every bad-minded action that you took, the Almighty saw it all. So who exactly are you hiding from? Yourself. It's dumb. It's dumb. And that's the thing about these people. Like, I saw things going on in that centre to make me know that this centre is not even worthy of being a centre. You know what I mean? You can't call yourself a healing centre when you are actually taking healing from the people that come to that centre. That's not right. That's not right. I don't care what anybody says. I shouldn't be seeing energy go from Stacy into the fourth generation of shaman. I should have seen energy going from him into her, because he's the one administering the healing, not the other way. How can you be healing somebody and taking from them at the same time? Make that make sense? But like I said, it's not for me to turn around and say to Stacey all the things that I saw happening there, or what I believe to be going on there, even her behaviour there. You know what I mean? Even just the things that she said, man. Like, she's talking, but I can hear her thoughts. And her thoughts are telling me her lies. Her thoughts are contradicting the words that are coming out of her mouth. You know what I mean? And there's certain things that I'm sharing with her and she's accepting. Just like everybody else on the program. Not every one of them can say that they had private, individual conversations with myself. You know what I mean? Where they were able to talk to me and I understood them. Marco, we went into the TP. I heard some stuff. I got some downloads about his situation. When I came out, I said, Marco, you know what? I hope you don't mind, you know, but I was getting some downloads while we was in there together, and this is kind of what I got. And he was like, that's the truth. That is the truth. And I said, no, okay, I get it. I said, but have you thought about this and that and that? And he was like, well, no. And I said, you know what? I'm not telling you what to do. Obviously, I'm not telling you what to do, but I got the kind of impression that this might be all right for you to try. And then if it's not what it is, then you know. And then if it is what it is, then you'll know it. But at the end of the day, it's about knowing. And it was like, You know, and then later on, he come to me when we was at the airport, and he was like, "Do you mind if I sit with you for a bit, Asherah?" Before I went off to my guest house accommodation, because he was catching his plane. And I said, "Not a problem." And he said, "Listen, the stuff that you said, it really, really helped me. Really, really has helped me. It's given me some food for thought, and I really appreciate it." And I said, "No problem." You know what I mean? Because sometimes, you know, it's a scary conversation to have, but sometimes it's better to have that conversation with a stranger. You know, somebody who's not kind of judging you, or you're not going to look at you in that particular way. And then I'm talking to Ava, and I'm letting her know certain things, and she's just like, "I'm so scared of you, Asherah. I'm so scared of you." I'm like, "Why is that?" Because it feels like you can hear my thoughts, like I'm around you, and I feel like you look deep into my soul, like you can see me. And you know what? It's for the first time anyone's kept it that real with me, and it's the first time I've needed to answer the question that they're asking. Can I hear your thoughts? Yeah, I can. Do you know what I mean? Yeah, I can. Do I want to hear your thoughts? No. Do I deliberately pry into people's minds trying to collect their thoughts? No. I wouldn't say I do. Have I tried it before? Yeah, I have tried it before. Have I tried it and it's worked? Yeah, I've tried it and it's worked. Do I do it often? No, I do not do it often. Why do you not do it often? Because I don't give a shit. I've got my own thoughts. I'm talking to spirit constantly. I got my own thoughts. I don't need to be digging in the thoughts of other people. But what will happen is that spirit will bring to my attention thoughts that they feel I need to know and understand. You know what I mean? So if spirit feels like, that person over there is going on with things and you need to, like, it will come to me days before anyway. So sometimes the days before I even, weeks before I even actually meet the person in person, and I'll be having conversations, and spirit will just bring me these conversations, or visually I have a vision of me talking to somebody, or you know what I mean. So it can happen audioly where I'm just hearing it, or visually where I'm seeing it and hearing it, you know, or I'm dreaming it. So it would just come in many different ways. And sometimes, like I said, it's months and years. When I met Fuck Nigga 1, I must have dreamed him about a year and a half before I actually even met him. But because I dreamed him, I knew so much about him. I knew so much about the energy, even though I'd never met him in person. And even when I was dreaming him, I couldn't understand why there was this familiarity. At the time, I wore wigs because I was still dealing with my alopecia, and I took off my wig in front of him. You know what I mean? In the dream, and I'm like, there's just no way. I don't even take my wig off in front of my fucking husband. So how the hell am I at a hotel with this guy, and I'm taking my wig off and flinging it to one side, and I can see red drawers over. You know what I mean? Like, everything's all over the place, and I'm like, no, who is this? Who is this? And then obviously when I met him, and things kind of moved in a different direction. The first time he met me face to face, and he threw down his coral shells, and his coral shells showed him that I am her and he is he, and he's acting all digi, and I'm saying, why are you moving like that for? Why don't you just cut through the bushes? Obviously that's you and that's me. You know what I mean? So why don't you just get on with the story? And he's gone, "Oh, yeah, and he sat down and he started to kind of disclose. But even as he's sitting down disclosing, he's still not disclosing everything. I'm picking up more from him through telepathic communication and energy than I am with the words that are actually coming out of his mouth. So there's certain times when I think, thank God I can hear thoughts. And thank God that I can hear energy, because if I was relying on the words that come out of people's mouth, I really would be fucked. I would be fucked, because people chat shit, blood. People chat shit. People are not honest. People do not work with walking integrity at all. People chat shit. Real talk. So, I'm glad that I'm able to hear and tap into certain things, to know for myself if something is right, if something is true, if something is real for myself, rather than being reliant on others. So that's what I will say about it. That is a plus, I would say. Do I want to know people's business? No. Is it a plus to know the business when it is applicable to me? Yes. Is most of the business that spirit brings me applicable to me? Yes. So is it good to know? Yes. Yes, it is. Yes, it is. And it's really nice when you're with a partner and you're tapped in that way. And usually I will have that. I will gain that knowledge before we start having intercourse. But once we do have intercourse, then it's the next level of information that I'll tap into, you know. But before intercourse, I can still access thoughts and telepathic communication and intentions. I know energy. I know the energy that you've been around. So say he's gone out and come back. I can see and feel who he's been around. And when he's not there, I can see who he is around in real time. And I can see who my kids are around in real time. You know, if I've tapped in and I'm on that frequency, or if I get a sudden feeling like, oh, what's going on with say my daughter, because I've had a feeling come through, then I can tap into that feeling and say, spirit, go and see where she is. And spirit will go off and go and see where she is, and then come back and show me where she is and what she's doing. And if they show me, say if right now I'm seeing my daughter outside McDonald's waiting on the 65 or 68 bus to go to Camden or wherever it is she's going. I keep saying Camden and I don't think it is Camden for some reason. I see Camden on the fucking front of the bus. Anyway, say she was there and I can see that somebody's energy isn't right around her. Yeah, then I would phone her and say, Summer, I can feel someone's energy around you, and I'll describe the person or describe what the person's wearing, and she would confirm if that person is around her or if she's with that person. More than likely, it's a yes. If I get the feeling, it's a yes that there is somebody in the description that I'm explaining, and I'm just like, I don't like it. Like at the moment, I'm thinking about a time with one of her girlfriends. I'm thinking, nah, this energy is too heavy and it's too demonic. You know what I mean? It's too demonic. And what I was thinking and feeling was the case. And not only that, she was getting involved in some right up bullshit, which I was not able to interject in a controlling way, but just interject in a way of her knowing. And what she chooses to do is her prerogative. You know, a lot of the time my children were like, Mum, you're always saying that our friends are this or there's demon energy or whatever. And I'll be like, I get it. Because it does feel like it's all the fucking time. It feels like it's all the time I'm having to warn about fucking dark energies and demonic energies, trying to fucking get them. It does feel like that. Feels like that for me too. I'm like, fucking hell, man. Can't you have a good energy, please? Well, I'm telling you, man, the good energies are far and few between, man. Which is unfortunate, but it's real at the same time. Pure white light energy is far and few between, man. You know what I mean? And I'm not saying that I can't be a bad bitch. I definitely can be a bad bitch. You know what I mean? But I just know that I meet more people that are on some fucked up shit than I am on some real let's change humanity shit. Let's actually do something, not for the camera, not for the likes, not for the love, but let's just actually do something. And then people are far and few between. Even when I meet people that portray themselves to be that, the light quickly exposes who they are, and the masks fall off, man. Now they don't want to play with you because you see them for who they are. So now they want to try and draw ranks, but baby, you never come there to start a fight with them in the first place. You just come there to show them, or for them to see that you can see them. So why not just be your natural self if I can see you? Why do you have to run off and don't want to play with me anymore because I can see you? Why don't the fact that I can see you make you at ease to just be seen? I would love for somebody to just see me in my entirety. See me. See all of me. How lovely it would be to just be seen. To be like glass. And just have somebody who can see absolutely everything about me. But the difference is because I walk with integrity. I don't have a problem with you seeing me. I don't have a problem with me putting my jars on show. I don't have a problem exposing me, and I don't have a problem with being exposed either. Expose me. Expose me, because I love every element about me. I love every element about me. Every single element about me is understood. Everything that I've done, everything that I've said, everything that I've been, I understand it. And I've always done it with divine. Whether it looked like it was wrong in your eyes or not, I know that I walk with the divine. And I do what the divine tells me. And the divine ain't telling me that anything I've done wrong, even when I know in my own eyes, nah, that's not right. And the divine has told me, no, this is what I need you to do. Then I go do it. I don't need to feel no embarrassment. I don't need to feel no shame. I don't need to feel upset. Because everything I've done with the Almighty. And it's that. That's all it is. That's all it is. And everything I've spoken has been my truth. And that's all I can ask for of myself, is to speak with my truth, my integrity. And if something is burning me, and something is bothering me, and something has upset me, then say what it is. Say what it is. Talk the truth and shame the devil. You know. So yeah, I said I wanted to have a look at this YouTube video. It's a little bit long, but so we don't have to play all of it. But basically, on the part 2 of this video, or shall I do it as a part 2? I probably should, because it's a bit weird kind of linking the two of them together. And this is already like 1 just. So yeah, I'll leave it here. But like I said, I do have a strategy for dealing with Stacey. And one is that she has actually terminated our agreement, not in accordance with her own terms and conditions. You know what I mean? And one thing I am big on is contract law. And just contracts in general, do you know what I mean? Like, since this whole divorce thing has happened to me, like, I'm so on the ball when it comes to law, administrative law, legislative law, and contract law. Yeah, and I'm just like, in accordance with your own contract, you haven't actually gone about this right. So have you really thought about it, or are you really just acting from a position of ego and emotions? You know, because you can't have a contract in place and not adhere to your own contract, and you put yourself in a liable position. And that's what she's done. She's put herself in a liable position, you know. And I think for me, that's why I know that I'm not emotional about it, because instead of looking at it as, what do you mean oil and water, and you need to explain yourself, and what do you mean you're kicking me off the course, and no, I don't give a fuck shit about none of that at all. What I give a fuck shit about is, one, can I get a refund on my money, because I've paid you over £1,000 for a course that really hasn't been fit for purpose. But not only that, I can't do anything with what I know, and you've made a decision to terminate my course. Yeah, so therefore I come out with nothing at the end. So why should I be £1,000, over £1,000 out of pocket for nothing? If I was gonna be accredited at the end of it, then I can say that it was money worth spent. But you're taking away the opportunity for me to become accredited. Do you know what I mean? Whatever. To become accredited, do you know what I'm saying? So therefore compensation is definitely warranted. And then also, you've, in the terms and conditions, you've stated that the contract can only be terminated for these reasons by the actual course coordinator. You are the course coordinator. You've terminated the contract, and what you've put as a reason of termination is because you're oil and I'm water, or you're water and I'm oil. Well, that doesn't meet the requirements of your own terms and conditions for cancellation. You know, that is not one of your reasons for being able to cancel the contract. So therefore, if you cancel your own contract for a reason not outlined in your own contract, then you're in breach of your own contract, aren't you? And it's stupidness like that. Like, just don't be irrational. Be rational. What she should have done is contacted me as soon as we got back from Peru to say that I understand that there was a lot of stuff that was discussed and experienced in Peru. Because we are in the integrations period, have this week to just relax and climatize, and I will have this week to relax and climatize. And then on this particular day at this time, can we agree to meet to discuss? I would have said yes, absolutely. I would have adhered to the date and time that she provided, or if it was something that I couldn't, I would have provided an alternative one. Then we would have met and spoke on that day about the issues. As the course coordinator, I would make sure that I've got a list of things that I want to put forward. But before I put them forward, I first want to get your opinion and your experience first. So I would be like, obviously if it was Stacey, the student, I would be like, Stacey, I really want to kind of understand how your experience was in ayahuasca. I want to understand whether or not you felt supported. I want to understand whether or not you felt heard. You know, I want to know your experience of deciding not to take ayahuasca after the second thingy. And I want to know if I've understood you properly. That's what I want to know. I want to know if I understood you properly. Yeah. And then afterwards, when I felt that Stacey had shared everything, I would then say to Stacey, is there anything else you'd like to share from a personal perspective? Because there were times on the course where I felt like I was providing her the support, not the other way around. Does that make sense? Like she was asking me things about traumas that she had experienced, and I was being that guide to her, which is nothing, there's nothing wrong with that. I'm more than happy to be the guide, but there has to also be an acknowledgement of a change in dynamics. Yeah. And as a facilitator, a former head teacher, a mother, a friend, you know, a human being, I'm gonna ask those questions because I want to get to the nitty-gritty of making sure that you feel supported, held, accountable, and that space was made for you to express yourself wholeheartedly. And that's what I'm after. I'm after you expressing yourself wholeheartedly. So I know that I'm not going to just jump in and make assumptions based on how I felt about the situation. No, I need to know how you felt about the situation. You're the student, so how do you feel about it? Not I'm the teacher. And I've worked at schools. I've been head teacher, and I've had staff come in my office screaming and shouting about how they want me to expel a child because a child has told them to go and suck their mum. Why would I be kicking out a child from education who's been kicked out of 8, 9, 10 other schools already prior, for me to kick them out of this school just because they told you to suck your mum? Do you suck your mum? No, I don't suck my mum. So if you don't suck your mum, why has this child telling you to go and suck your mum offended you so much? To the point where you want to protest and have this child kicked out of school. And he's not even talking about suspended for a day, you know. He's talking about permanently excluding the child because the child told him to suck his mum. Do you suck your mum? That's what we need to understand. Do you suck your mum? Because unless this child is talking the truth, why on earth would you take it there? As the adults, as the people in a position of maturity, we really do have to get a grip on ourselves. You know what I mean? Kids and people say things all the time. What you're going to do, blow off emotionally and literally go for the jugular. What for? What for? Let's try and understand the child. Why has the child told you to go and suck your mum in the first place? That's what I want to know. That's what I want to know. That's what I'm about to go find out. And more time when I go and find out, it's the fucking teacher that's done something fucking dumb. Believe it or not, these kids are in school being blamed for shit, and really you've got teachers that are dealing with insecurities, dealing with fucking unhealed child fucking wounds, telling your kids that your kids will never amount to shit. Who is any teacher to tell anybody that they're not going to amount to shit? Honestly, I've worked at many schools, and as far as I'm concerned, staff are more of a problem than the students, and anybody operating in leadership positions that I've met along the way, because we have these conversations too, will tell you managing people is one of the hardest things in any job description. And I remember learning that module is part of my social policy degree at university, managing people. And it was sold as one of the hardest things to do while we were doing the fucking degree. And it is, managing people is hard because managing people, there's all types of spiritual, emotional, mental health problems that you are dealing with with your staff, never mind your students. So there's a lot that needs to be worked out. So because I've been in these environments for years and years, I have a level of emotional maturity, and I have a lot of integrity within it because I've been responsible for it. Stacey is a practitioner because she's teaching courses in one particular subject area. You know, as a head teacher, I'm teaching teaching in multiple different areas. You know what I'm saying? Multiple different areas. I've got a curriculum. I need to be a curriculum expert in my field. So I've got QTLS, which is teacher status, qualified teacher status in maths, English and ICT. I also trained to learn about citizenship, RE, because obviously English can kind of come under those headings too. Then I literally gone for independent status and had to get status with other awarding bodies to have competencies over other subject areas to be able to deliver them. So I've delivered science, PE, I've delivered history, geography. Like, there isn't a subject in school that I haven't been responsible for delivering at some point along my journey. So I understand the curriculum background of being in education, but then being in senior leadership positions, as in just before, or middle management leaderships, I should say, you then are responsible for doing staff appraisals. You know, you're then responsible for meeting parents at parents' evenings. You're then responsible for meeting external professionals and working with them. So all of these over a lifetime, 20 years of being in education, has taught me all of these skills. And then when you do step into actual senior leadership, you're now responsible for whole school stuff. So you're not just responsible for teaching and learning and behaviour and outcomes and leadership and management. You're actually now responsible for catering, you're responsible for cleaners, you're responsible for cooks, you're responsible for consultants, you're responsible for what happens when the school shuts down because of snow day. It's endless. It's endless. And that's what I'm saying. My experience over time of working with all of these different hats in all of these different sectors, plus I've been involved because obviously I did social policy and local governance as my degree and my master's, so I was very much involved with things politically. So I've got a political career too before an education career. Within my education career, I've also got a criminology experience too, where I did part of a master's in criminology. I've got parts of masters in mental health. So my academic level is next level. You know what I'm saying? I'm at PhD level at university studying. My personal level is on the next level in terms of having 5 children and raising children and being a mom and being a wife and knowing all those mechanisms that come with doing that in the household. Even being a parent teacher from day one. You know, with my spiritual abilities or gifts or experiences of knowing that I'm a high priestess or knowing that I'm a shaman and spirit working me towards all of that. Like, there's so many different avenues where my intellectual maturity and intellectual understanding around emotional as well as professional as well as personal as well as spiritual, as I said, comes into effect. So I'm not just a random person sitting down in front of you, trying out a thing. No, I'm an NLP practitioner myself. I'm an NLP, which is a neuro-linguistic life coach practitioner, where you learn to deprogram the brain and reprogram it with something else. I've studied in CBT, cognitive behavior therapy. I've studied Reiki. I'm a Reiki practitioner. Level 1/level 2. I should not be level 2, but the instructor was just like, no, you're sick, I'm going to give you the codes for level 2. Do you know what I mean? So, you know, all of these experience combined helps me to kind of provide this holistic approach to all different types of situations, because I've got all these skills to rely on. You know what I mean? So therefore, I don't look down on Stacey and where Stacey's at, because she doesn't have the life experience that I have. When we were talking about one of her students that was there, and I was like, Stacey, have you thought about this? And have you tried this? And she was like, how would I even know any of that? How would I know that? I'm not a Senko. I've never done anything within schools or nothing like that. That's not my background, so how would I know? And it is true, how would you know? But a lot of it is the journey that we walk and the journey that we take on. Because I wouldn't know half the stuff that I know if spirit hadn't led me down that path, or if I haven't been confident to follow down that path. You know, when my ex-person I was married to asked me to take over his school, as we were setting up the free school, if you like. And at the same time, I was just about to become a councillor for Birmingham. I was just about to become elected. I'd gone through the panel. I'd won my interview. Well, successful interview, second one, to be fair. It wasn't even my first rodeo. And and I was, I was shadowing the leader, the deputy leader at the time, and the girl who was walking with me at the same time is now the leader of the council, and she's a black girl with dreads. So none of this is bullshit or made up. You know what I mean? Like, this is a real thing, and we're both being groomed by the same man, and again, there was no doubt in my mind of where I could have taken it, but at the same time, I also know that even though I did make a decision to follow and support my husband at the time, I know that it was also a spiritual led position, because the journey, what the road has taken me on since making that decision to step away from politics full time, brought me on the journey of education, which has honestly led to who I am and where I am today. So I don't doubt none of it. You know what I mean? And I don't resent or reject any of it. I welcome all of it. So yeah, I just again, I'm just gonna deal with it responsibly, because I get it. At the end of the day, I didn't have any expectations that Stacey could teach me anything anyway, to be fair, based on what the ancestors had downloaded to me from July. But I probably would have hoped for her to have dealt with it in a different way. We've known each other since 2018, so that in itself should have put a little bit more compassion, perhaps, or understanding there. I've spoke to her along the way and sharing parts of my development and what's fucking happening to me, bloody ass. You know what I mean? Because a lot of it I didn't quite understand in the beginning. You know what I'm saying? And she acted like she did, and I was quite surprised when she says to me that she thought I was evil. Because obviously she'd never kind of give me that impression prior. I don't know if this is the one. Hiya, it's me. I'm talking to my shamanic trainer, who is absolutely beautiful, but I don't think she wants to be on camera, okay? So I'm just going to keep it on me. But yesterday, we was in ceremony, and it was interesting because she got some downloads. Yeah. So Stacey's just going to go through the downloads, but what I'm going to do, I'm just going to pull up a chair rather than be on the hammock, because my bum's not stable. I'll just be here. Hiya, it's me. I'm talking to my shaman. That's me. I'm not going to play the whole thing, but that's me sitting down with her when she discloses that she thinks I'm evil. This is what I used to look like before when I wore a wig. As a right little Barbie girl, ain't it? This is what I used to look like when I was in school. Saying that, it brings me on to this particular video's topic, which is shame. Okay. These are some 2020 videos. This is me dancing. Session 2. This is 21. This is me out one night with fuck nigga free. You know what I'm saying? My mum don't play. When she dressed, she dressed to impress. One thing I will say about that woman. I've been through so many stages, I swear to God. That's what I'm saying. Like, it is what it is. I've been through so many stages. I've been through so many lives. I've been through so many deaths. I've been through so many rebirths. You know, I'm not worried about nothing. I'm not worried about anything. You know. Not worried about nothing, Bob. I'm just looking forward to seeing this shit play out. You know, so on that note, I'm gonna go and get myself something to eat, and then I will play this video, because this video is, she's talking some ish. She's talking some stuff that was told to me back in 2019. This stuff was told to me by fuck nigga one, the high priest, and he told me this. And don't get me wrong, this has been a running story over the years, but we're in 2026 right about now, and my girls took it from the top to the bottom, and I was just like, nah, I'm 26 minutes in, I'm gonna rewind. We're gonna do this video here, okay? So this will be the next video. So on that note, I'm gonna say, listen, take care, take it easy, yeah, trust the process, always be doing your thing. Always love yourself, because at the end of the day, there is nobody else but you. God is God alone. 228. God is God alone. Yeah, right. So there ain't nothing wrong with being alone, and there ain't nothing wrong with stepping out by yourself, because I'm never alone and I'm never by myself. I'm like 300 man strong every day, all day. You know what I mean? But it is what it is, isn't it? So on that one, I'll see you on the next one.